Warm greetings. To look at any given situation and be able to see it with clarity. You or anyone else needs a third eye. Jeremy Enriquez, to my mind, among others, is one such devotee to spirituality who has a third eye because of his transformation. Seeing with clarity is removing the biases that come in the way of decision making and making choices and decisions consciously as opposed to being compulsive in thought and behavior. A person who is boundary setting is working from his or her reptilian brain as opposed to the cerebral cortex wherein lies the intellect. All creatures have a reptilian brain. Creatures simply mean created. So including human beings. That person is acting in basic survival mode from self-preservation, likened to a dog who goes around peeing on every darn light pole singing I, me, as it establishes a pea kingdom. When you elevate beyond the level of survival, you do things consciously and with your awareness, So you make decisions consciously, and you don't say I'm free to do as I please. No, that is compulsive thought and behavior. You say, look, I'm free to do that which is right for me and mine, and prudent to do that whatever is prudent for the whole. So a devotee to spirituality, whenever she makes decisions having to do with things of a physical nature, instead of setting boundaries or so-called walls of protection or tolerance, because she is enlightened, devotee to spirituality instead uses a universal standard of acceptance based on the reality and notion that God is one who is impartial, and the universe is one energy. Nobody can say, this is my life. They can only go as far as saying, this is my body and mind. But life is a shared commodity, shared with all other living creatures and things. So, look, I no longer identify, I no longer carry ID badges, I no longer identify with either a religion or a political organization, party, so to speak. But I associate, and I do so with all, however, without getting entangled. So I only discriminate, the only place in my life where I discriminate is in my bedroom and bathroom, because it has to do with intimate touches in those spaces. Otherwise, if I'm just going into a crowd, in a meeting, if I'm in a workplace somewhere, whatever, I mingle with everybody. I sit wherever. Okay? I don't discriminate. Okay? I don't go around labeling people. I don't draw conclusions. Nobody's closer than me and my brother. And I'm telling you, we're two different personalities. He's coming in a few days. We're two different personalities. But I don't draw conclusions about my brother. I always pull myself back. I say, you never know, you never know, you never know. And so we enjoy the expedition. That's how we enjoy the expedition. Life is an expedition. And the intellect a tool for exploration, not drawing down conclusions. So I'm different. I like to set set order. I like to organize and say, okay, this is the plan. This is where we're gonna go. This is where we're gonna stop. My brother. Now he's wired differently, and but he gets it done. He's an engineer. So I'm saying he's not disorganized. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we're two different people. He knows exactly what he wants to do, and so on and so on. But you know what? His business is his business. So I don't draw conclusions. No, I don't draw conclusions. When I love my brother, I love him unconditionally. Love is something you give away. Yeah? So if you're giving it away, you don't give it with conditions. Otherwise, you're holding people to ransom. It's not, you're not giving away. What it is credit, not give away. So thus a devotee to spirituality trades in his or her ID badges for a universal identity. To look at any given situation and be able to see it with clarity, one needs a third eye, because these two um, uh, you're born with, they're deceptive. Deceptive because you are the one standing behind, like standing behind a camera and taking the pictures of what exists. So you process the picture thinking it's real, notwithstanding the picture fails to capture your biases because you're the one standing behind the camera. You're not including yourself in the frame, in the picture. So what you capture is what you have become, yeah? Full of yourself, full of biases. Your biases which came about, you know, with the identification badges you adopted, you are wearing. So causing you to discriminate. So whenever you identify, saying things like, okay, these are my people, you're saying the rest of the world, the rest of people, the others in the society or community are not. You know, look, our 8.3 billion world population are all God's children. Who else created them? God is one, a spirit being who is impartial. So you are being partial, which is uncharacteristic of a devotee to spirituality, and unlike God, who is a spirit, because God is impartial. God is not only an impartial spirit being, God is real, unlike the image you captured with your naked eyes. God is real and life is real. Reality is what comes naturally. If you have to invent it, then it's a darn lie. Reality never changes, therefore you can only come to terms with it. You can only realize it. So, truth and reality are related in that truth is something that you come to realize. Truth is not something you either read in a book or hear from the mouths of a professor. So, your existential realities are one, your boundary of time, which is your lifespan, an average of 70. So it's reality to say that one day you are going to die, like myself. Any day could be. Die physically. Your other existential reality is two, that your boundary of space, which comprise your height and shoulder width, the reality of that fact is that you can neither grow nor go beyond the boundary, and that everything in the physical created universe comes with boundaries, including you. Your physical body and mind are boundaries. The reality is that you are neither your body nor mind, however. You may not see it that way, although they belong to you, but you're not your body and mind. So whatever belongs to you cannot be you. It can only be your property. Whenever your body and mind returns to the dust, you will continue to exist in one of the two realms you now comprise. You will no longer be in the physical, but you will continue to exist in the spirit realm. And the spirit is boundless. That's the nature of the spirit. It is boundless, 100%. The created universe only comprises 5% of existence, you know. The rest of 95 remains total darkness, or you can call it nothingness with potential, or space. But God is 100%. So God is everywhere and nowhere, terms you can only use for designate to God, i.e., and the spirit world, the spirit realm. So, once again, transactions are only conducted in this 5%. So, your consciousness and awareness works in this 5%, and you discriminate in this 5% in the created universe. Yeah, but the spirit realm is boundless. There are no transactions in the rest of 95. So your last transaction will be upon closing your eyes, you know, and that will be your last memory that the dead person carries. How, you know, whether she died joyfully, willingly, you know, so peacefully, or, you know, it was a suicide, or murder, things of that sort. So yeah, so that experience. That's why it's so important, how you send people off. So the reality is that you're neither your body nor mind, although they belong to you. Whenever your body and mind return to the dust, you will continue to exist in the spirit realm, the same way you are now. You are both physical and spiritual. You are in both realms. You comprise both. So I'm saying that whatever belongs to you, such as your body and mind, cannot be you. They can only be your property. Therefore, there is something more fundamental to you that comprise you. You are a spirit being at the core, one only becoming life when God breathed life into you. You are likened to an onion with 5 layers, one inside the other. The outermost, your physical body, inside of which you have your mental body, inside of which your energy body, inside of which your transient body. The ghosts some people see because they fail to properly dispose of human remains, of relatives and so on. They keep the clothes hanging around. They keep the ashes of that person in the house, the deceased in the house. Inside of that fourth, you have your fifth, which is non-physical, your spirit nature. You are a spirit being at the core, sitting like an invisible crown floating approximately 2 inches above your head. That's the spirit, your spirit that comprises you. Yeah, spirit, whether Holy Spirit, alcohol, or pharmaceutical, causes flotation, okay? Because it's non-physical. It floats, spirit floats. So, spirit makes you drunk. That's the nature of it. Spirit makes you drunk. Whenever you are drunk, you're incapacitated to work, unable to work. So, whether you're drunk with your own spirit, the spirit of God, the whatever, whereas your physical body, if you go long enough, drunk, your physical body caves in. Yeah, it gives way. However, your mind never gets weary. Your mind never gets weary when you're drunk. Okay, never. It goes on in perpetuity. Your spirit works through your mind. It's there through your mind. In the case of a devotee to spirituality, when she is in the spirit realm, she is being enlightened. All right, having lost track when you're in that state, you lose track of space and time. For the spirit realm is boundless. You follow? So to be in the spirit realm is to be ecstatic. Notwithstanding, a devotee to spirituality doesn't go staggering around like you'd have a drunkard. No, because she is grounded like a mountain, still unstable. Unlike persons drunk with other substances. So your two eyes, these, which form part of your 5 common senses, only perceive with logic. They only capture data from outside, so they are limited. That's their limitation. The data these eyes capture forms memory. You then store, yeah. So it's old data. It's of the past. It's not your existential reality, yeah. And you can't create a single thing with memory. That's one. So you are not living in your existential reality. Whenever you are there reminiscing about your great grandmother, you are wasting time. You're not living, you are wasting time. So likewise, when you become preoccupied with what may or may not happen, whether it be out of fear of the future, whether you're going to heaven, whatever, hell, whatever, to live in your existential reality is to perform action. Okay, to use your karma to perform action, i.e., to make memories meaningful, lasting, good memories. That's how you use your karma. Yeah? That's how you live in your existential reality. Such as to actively think. Thinking is an activity. You need to stop whatever the hell you are doing to think. If you are not stopping whatever else you are doing to consciously think through, make decisions, make choices, and your mind is there acting on its own. then you're not in control of it. My mind tell me where to do, my mind this, my mind that, I have one mind, the other mind. Oh, you cannot create a single thing with memory. You need to gain control of your mind. Actively think. With your mind, when you actively think, you create. The third eye is the pineal gland, formerly known as the body clock. It constitutes one of the 7 most vital energy centers known as chakras. With professional help, you can reposition the pineal gland so they place it right here between your other 2 eyes. Now people are not going to see it from outside. It's a process that is internal. So yeah, it's not visible to others from outside. Whenever it secretes the hormone melatonin, it makes the host, the person, blissful, permanently so. After the surgery, you can get it done with professional help. From that point, or if you have the mastery, you can do it yourself. From that point going forward, you are no longer a moody person. Yeah, you like I like this, but I don't like that. Oh, come on now. You're always amenable and joyful because because of the secretion of that hormone melatonin constantly, that it alters who you are and your behavior. So even as you engage other people, the third eye works from inside, informing the way you think, feel, and experience life with exuberance. So it works from inside as well as outside. Unlike these two only capture data from outside. The other ones inform how you think, feel, and experience life, as well as capture data from outside. A devotee to spirituality, likened to God, is perfectly poised with being a presence. Look, if the color of this room is white, you become that. Yeah, God doesn't have a character or personality. God is a presence, a powerful presence. So the third eye is what inspires you. Yeah, athletes talk about getting into a zone, from time to time. Musicians are sometimes only ecstatic. Well, I will tell you this. As a mature devotee to spirituality, one, she is always inspired. Well, I know I am. And seeing with clarity. And two, blissful and joyful, being ecstatic all day. Incapacitates you, Yeah? Because when you're ecstatic, you're in a drunken state. That's the spirit at work. So you only need a tinge of it to carry you through the day. Only a tinge will do of ecstasy. And on occasion, then you let it all hang out. You become overwhelmed with it. And in the case of devotees to spirituality, what's happening there? You're enlightened. You're enlightened, in a state of enlightenment. When to be in the dark is to not know something. So being enlightened is to know what you didn't know before. So knowledge just oozes into and through you. That's what happens when you're being enlightened. With knowledge. That's why I'm a seeker. Seeker of knowledge. Carrying on smartly. So, like I said, a devotee to spirituality is able to explode without incident while ecstatic, because she sits like a mountain, still unstable. Seeing with clarity is removing the biases that come in the way of decision making and making choices and decisions consciously, as opposed to being compulsive in thought and behavior. A person who is boundary setting is working from his or her reptilian brain, not the cerebral cortex, not the intellect. The intellect despises boundaries. It wants to go out of bounds. Look, people think that all they have is this logic thing. Look, the branches of the mind, you have manas, which constitute a memory from your tip of your head to your toe, down to your toes. 10 different forms of memory. And then you have chitta, which uses no memory. Chitta is an intelligence that uses no memory. And then you have those branches of the mind. All people use mostly with this down logic. Logic is like a knife you use to dissect, or a scalpel, but it cannot stitch things. So you can only perceive one way with logic, okay? To where you get understanding. But after you cut up the frog, like I said yesterday, you know the parts of it, you know the material aspects, but you can't know the frog in a manner of relationship, experience. The way you know God is the way you know a prostitute. Yeah? A one night stand. You know that one prostitute spiritually as well as legally. Hmm? Knowledge by way of experience, without any damn need for understanding. By way of experience of a relationship is how you know God. And to get there, you can't get there through logic. You can only surrender. So surrender in this context of acquiring knowledge, this through this manner of perception, you've got to surrender. That's the only way. There's no bridge to logic. So I'm concluding here, a devotee to spirituality, whenever she makes decisions having to do with things of a physical nature, instead of setting a boundary, a so-called wall of protection or tolerance. Let me tell you about those, okay? You have this minority group, this, that, and you think that setting up a wall of protection is what you need to do. What you need to do is remove all the boundaries and establish a universal standard of acceptance. Accepting people the way they are. Yeah? Because a wall of protection sooner or later becomes a wall of imprisonment. You don't tolerate. Tolerance cannot be the standard in a society. A husband that only tolerates his wife, or a wife that only tolerates her husband, sooner or later ends in divorce. So the standard, universally so, has to be acceptance. Accepting whether male or female, like the Belize Constitution says, accepting whether Hispanic, Garifuna, Mayan, Creole, and the other ethnic groupings, too numerous to mention. Accepting with the full bundle of rights. The Constitution already gives people a full bundle of rights. It says no discrimination. It says equal. What else can equal mean? For you to come and say men are superior to women, get out of here. Let's bring this to a wrap. And then you policymakers, you suck that like soup instead of adhering to the Constitution and fleshing it out. So we have equal down rights on the ground for all and no discrimination. You are the cause. They are kowtowing to the clergy instead of doing your job. And you mouth up. Yeah, I'm a little upset. I'm disappointed a little bit in the PM. Disappointed in you because you talk for the 2% so much. When I listened to you talk the other day about what you're going to do with this, this damn thing about this, what this authority that controls communication. You talk as if though you've forgotten who put you there. Huh? The majority of little people put you there. Now you talk about they have to pay for this and pay for that, pay for this and pay for that, what they get on Facebook for free, what they're getting from the internet for free, they have to pay for this and pay for that. You have to bring them in line. You should be happy that they're getting what you should have given them, you and your government. You are unable. Now they are getting it. They are getting it. Establishing a darn universal standard. Leveling the playing field. And now you want to muzzle them and you want to tax them for it. Get out of here. Get out of here. It pisses me off. That's not the kind of beliefs I hope to see. I thought that, and 75% of the country is 45 and under, 44 and under. 75% born after independence can't even own a house by the age of 30, which is within their reach. Which is why you elect policymakers, because they have the hope, and you are able to tangibly give them answer this because it's there for them. All the natural resources of the damn country are for the state. You manage it. But as energy gets cheaper, what you do with it? What are you doing with the savings? Instead of passing it to the working and middle class so the quality of lives improve, you burden them. And you're happy to do it and you mount it up. Yeah, because you see you're sitting now on that pedestal up there. You and your darn cabinet. Driving on government gas. Rolled up on the ice. Yeah? Only less than 20%, must be even less than 15% of the population drive. Yeah? So people aren't about, driving and driving. They need to own a home. The majority. For the first time. Come on now. Let it be so. Yeah, sister, yeah. You tell that, yeah? I like you, man. I like you, but you gotta do right by the people, man. Hmm? Hmm? I know you look for retire. Hmm? See your last term? Hmm? That ain't legacy where you want left? That ain't legacy where you want left, Prime Minister? Come on now. Come on.